Hey! So, if you've clicked on this video, it means that you have some problems with lowest common denominators. I want to talk about a few things in this video. The why. What are we actually doing when we're finding the lowest common denominator? And how. First things first though, I just wanna erase the word denominator, because it's actually what we're finding is the lowest common multiple, which just happens to be in the denominator. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the why. So basically, we need to find lowest common denominators when the denominators in fractions that we're adding are different. Okay, so if I were to do a pictorial representation, I would say 1/2 plus 1/4. What we need to do is we need to get all of the fractions speaking in the same language. Because right now we can say, okay, if I have a half and I add a quarter, that's a half and a half of a half. Okay? That's just confusing. So what we want to do is when we're finding lowest common denominators or lowest common multiples, we're making them speak the same language. So we're saying, okay, so 1/2 or 2/4, 2/4 plus 1/4. 1/4 plus 2/4 is just 3/4. So, why? Because we need to make the fractions speak the same language. We need to have them describe the same amounts. Let's do this in eighths. So if I have a circle, I have a quarter plus 3/8. Okay, if I were just to do that visually, I would say, okay, so it would be 2/4, okay, 1/4 plus 1/4 plus a little bit, so plus a half of a quarter. But that's just approximate. What we want to do is we want to have this quarter be actually speaking the same language as the eighths, so that we say 2/8 plus 3/8. So when we count it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is just 5/8. So then when we're adding, it doesn't make sense that we would do anything to add the denominators, right? All we're doing is we're saying, okay, 2/8 plus 3/8 is just 5. 5/8. The denominator, you'll notice, is held constant, is the same. Okay, so you know the why. The why is because we need to have the fractions all speak the same language. And now what about the how? Well, if I were to say 2/3 plus 1/5, I need to find the lowest common multiple between 3 and 5. So step number 1, I'm just going to write out the multiples. Of each. Okay, so I'm just going to do this in another color because it's kind of my side work. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I think I'm onto something here. 18, 21, and also, okay, so that's for the 3's. For the 5, I'm going to write 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So we're noticing that 15 is our lowest common multiple. So that means that the lowest common denominator between 3 and 5 is going to be 15. So I know I need to multiply my 3 by 5 to get 15, Whatever I do to the top, I do to the bottom, because ultimately what I'm multiplying by is 5 over 5, which is just 1. So then when I show my work, 2 times 5 is, so the next line would be 10. 3 times 5 is 15. Plus, don't forget writing that down. Now we need to get this 1/5 into something over 15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply my 5 by 3, and my 1 by 3, because I want to multiply by 3 over 3, which is just 1. Try it on your calculator. Pause it right now. 3 divided by 3, that is just 1. You never have to trust me on these things. You can always prove it for yourself. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 10 plus 3 is 13. So 10 fifteenths plus 3 fifteenths is 13 fifteenths. Now we're noticing this is kind of doing a little fancy footwork. We're noticing that there are no common factors between 13 and 15. So we're done. I'm going to put a box around it. Here's another how. Let's just go back here. Basically, a rule that sometimes people say is you just multiply them by each other. So I knew that I had to multiply 3 by 5 because the other one is 5. And I needed to multiply the 5 by 3 because the other one. So you just multiply them together, and that's your lowest common denominator. What happens if we have something like 1/6 plus 1/9? Yeah, I can multiply them together. 6 times 9 is 54. But I'm going to have to do a lot of work later. What I want to do is I want to find the lowest common multiple between them so that I don't have to do any work once I get my final answer. So I'm going to write out the multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. I'm going to go 9, 18, 27, 27, 36, and 45. Minor brain fart. You're noticing that we're having two common multiples, right? We have 36 and we have 18. But what we want to do to create the least amount of work for us is use the lowest common multiple. So I'm going to make sure that my next denominator is going to be 18. So what do I need to multiply 6 by to get 18? 1, 2, 3. So multiply 6 by 3, and that's 6. 6 by 3, and multiply 1 by 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. So 1/6 is the same thing as 3/18. Try it out on your calculator. And I go 2 times 9 is 18. So I multiply 9 by 2, and multiply the 1 by 2, because I'm just multiplying 2 by 2. Or sorry, 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So that becomes 2. So altogether, 3/18 plus 2/18 is 5/18. So it feels like a really long way to write out all the multiples like this. You will not have to do that forever, okay? But you need to first kind of practice it so that it becomes just a part of the way that you do math, okay? Just going through all the multiples in your head. But first, it's important that you write your thoughts down on paper so that you don't feel stuck. Last but not least, why don't you go on Math IXL and try grade 8, D2. That's going to help you just identify what the lowest common denominators are. You don't have to do any adding or subtracting of fractions. You just have to determine what the lowest common denominator of the question is. Sometimes when you get really good at it, they're going to throw things at you like 3 numbers that you need to find common denominators between. Don't worry about it. It's the exact same thing. Just write out all the multiples of all the numbers, and then figure out which one is the lowest one, which is the common multiple that happens first.